Hi, Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
I am so excited to be talking to you about this film, Sundown.
Well, thank you. I'm excited too.
I
It's coming out, and it's a joy to discuss it.
I am in love with this film, Michelle. It is, number one, it looks beautiful. The cinematography, Yves' cinematography, it's gorgeous. It celebrates the beauty of Acapulco, the tropical beauty, the quiet. But then you contrast that with the edginess of the grittier side of the town down on the beach with the street people and the little bodegas on the street. And I love that contrast. So we get both worlds. But then this story and Tim Roth's performance, he is perfection. Perfection as Neil. It's very cerebral. It makes you think. And it's very much life in the moment through Neil's eyes. This is I just mesmerized watching this film, Michelle. Mesmerized.
Well, thank you. Thank you, because everything you mentioned is what I work hard for. The cinematographer does a very good job, but we try never to have a plastic, preconceived approach on aesthetics. We're using whatever we can on the moment, on the spot, especially in this movie, that we wanted to feel like we're there at the beach and the sun is burning your skin and you're smelling things. So yeah, and he's shooting painful stuff, but it's beautiful at the same time. I think, yeah, my DOP is great, and then of course Tim. I mean, the two aspects of filmmaking that I care more about is my collaboration with the cameraman, with the cinematographer, and with the actors. I love working with the actors, and Tim keeps challenging me and inspiring me, and I try to do the same with him. So we've been friends for 10 years, and I know him pretty well by now. I still admire him like I did when I met him many years ago, and you know, I knew him only from movies. But now the relationship has grown bigger, and I really love him, and I think that shows when I shoot with him. The way I see him through the camera, there's a lot of love in that way of seeing him, observing him. And then, of course, I have a great crew. The production designer and everyone else were good at finding the places that I wrote about in Acapulco, which is one of the places that's closest to my heart in my country. And at the same time, it's very painful to see how it got violent and complicated, and it's not what it used to be 30 years ago.
I actually went there 35 years ago, and it was beautiful and wonderful. And it is very disheartening to see what has happened in the years since then. And that's one of the great things about Sundown, is because we see both of those aspects. We see the beauty of and quiet, gentler times of days gone by, contrasted, that harsh edge, with, you know, just random shootings at hotels, on beaches, with tourists milling about. So I really love that we get to see that and experience it. And at the heart of this, at the core, is Tim's performance as Neil, because Neil takes everything in stride. It's just another day, another moment, and nothing panics him. And you give us breadcrumbs along the way, not to give any spoilers, but you give us breadcrumbs that if people are paying attention, you understand what's going on in his mind. It takes a little while before you give us the first breadcrumb, but once you do, I immediately went, aha, okay. I understand this man and what he's going through. And while you've got a powerhouse performance from Charlotte playing Neil's sister Alice, and her histrionics and screaming and yelling, you don't care, you don't care, you don't care, our mother is dead, you don't care about the company. But as you watch him unflappable, you really appreciate the depth at which he does care. And that plays out so beautifully by the time we get to film's end, Michelle.
Thank you. I think he's a very good-natured character, and he loves his family.
Yes.
And he's trying to spare them pain, but life is funny that way because it ends up happening the other way around. And he also kind of realizes that he's not free at all, not even to decide on his own self. You know, nobody's totally free. I think it's a movie that differs greatly depending on the viewer, and you clearly follow it the way, you know, in the best possible way, the way I intended it to be. So I'm glad to hear you.
The emotion of the film mirrors what you're showing us visually with Acapulco, that hard edge versus the beautiful tropical languidity and beauty, and where everything is idyllic and perfect. And that carries through with your emotional beats as well within the family unit. And I found that really striking. That on the one hand, we've got Alice raging and mad and angry. We've got Acapulco, the beach, gritty and angry and violent. But then you've got these quieter moments. We've got the placidness of and the tacit quiet of Neil, and the tacit quiet of the resort with no one around and just the winds and the sun. And I love that structure, Michelle. I don't like to gush about it, but God, it's just so beautifully constructed.
Well, thanks. I mean, really, thank you. I'm very. You're making my day, but I guess what's good about it is that good books or movies should or paintings should have contrast. When the same work can contain opposites, I think that's the best. If one's able to do one thing and then the opposite in the same movie, then again, it's very. Every audience will make something different with it, and it's stimulating, hopefully.
From a production standpoint, did you shot list this out? Did you fly by the seat of your pants with your cinematographer with these beautiful images? How structured was your visual plan for this film?
We discussed the film. We had long discussions about it, but there was no shot list or storyboard. This is the fourth film we made together, and it's the one we prepared the least, so to speak, because we wanted to make the most out of what we would find in the moment, and this was very hard for the crew because we kept changing our minds and improvising. We shot it in chronological order as we always do, but because of that, we have more freedom to keep improvising and to let the film come to life and to reveal itself. So that was the process. I mean, we knew we were going to be close to Tim. We knew we wanted to show the environment. We knew the love story was very important. But we often found ourselves lost, and that's how I wanted it. And also, we didn't close down the beach with extras. Everything is pretty much what's really happening on a beach day, and that's not the typical way to make a movie, especially with big stars. So, but I'm glad with it because it's the only way to be truthful to the place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you didn't close the beach down, because we are seeing some reactions, obviously, from some tourists at certain moments in the film that you caught on camera. So there is a very natural feel to it. That one frightening scene, a lot of people were taking it in stride and still just sitting on the beach, and they're not running. It's like a wreck on the freeway. You turn and you look and you keep looking, but you don't go anywhere. And I love that natural, that honesty that comes through with this.
Well, that's how it happens in Acapulco and in other places too. But the footage that you remember when they're having lunch,
Yes.
well, dinner, not lunch, dinner, and on TV you can see out of focus, but you can still understand. It's the real footage that appeared on TV a couple of years ago from a very. I pretty much recreated what happened, but what's more interesting is what you're saying, that people just stayed and kept enjoying their day. That reveals a lot about the world today.
Yes. I mean, you've got great subtextual social commentary happening in this film as well. Plus some great metaphor. The pigs, the visions of pigs, on the floor and with entrails pulled out. Really, some amazing transitional metaphor shots are happening. Now, something that I particularly am very, very enthralled by with this film is your sound design. Your sound, just as Tim's performance is very effortless, very simple, very natural, just as your lensing is, your sound is so natural. We're getting all the ambience of the soft surf in that area, the wind, especially at the resort, at the expensive resort. You feel that soft wind, you hear it. Then down on the street, down on the beach, in the grittier side, we hear the footsteps when we don't have score overlaying. We hear the clink of beer bottles or adjusting in a chair. I love the nuanced, meticulous nature of your sound. How much of that was production sound and how much was layered in post?
Well, I remember when I talked to Tim about the film. I told him you need to come down to Acapulco and hear it. It's what you see is very interesting, but what you hear, like at that beach, having 10 music at the same time, and it's a bit crazy because people go there to relax, but how do you relax in the middle of that chaos? And then, like you say, the contrast with the high-end resort. So sound was the main thing from the beginning, and then we found the sound of the sun, so to speak. I went to the NASA, and I found how the sun is supposed to sound. They recorded the sun. So sound was a key element to this movie. And the sound guy, the direct sound, I don't know how to say it in English, made a fantastic job at recording because he was able to isolate every sound in the middle of that chaos. So when we arrived to the sound designer and to the post-production that was done in Gothenburg in Sweden, they were surprised that the sound guy recorded such great quality audio. So yeah, I have to credit both the recorder and the post-production guy.
Wow, I mean, I was so impressed by the sound, and even in the jail cell, you hear the clink, the clank. In the very quiet apartment when Neil is signing papers, you hear the footsteps. As the niece and nephew are coming in and clomping on the floor, and you don't hear anything else. It speaks so loudly, emotionally, the sound design of this film.
Yeah, and sound is often forgotten, and it's really half of it has to go done through sound.
Yeah, just absolutely amazing, Michelle. What was the most challenging aspect for you as a storyteller, as a filmmaker, in bringing this story to life? Because this this story has so much depth, emotional depth and heart to it, that this could only have come from something very personal. It's a very personal story for you to tell. So I'm wondering what the biggest challenges were in bringing this to life and telling this story.
I think the fragility to acknowledge that we are very frail, and that I was going through a personal crisis where I found myself, some sort of midlife crisis, and my friends all have kids, and I'm obsessed making movies, and suddenly I felt, a little bit empty or frail, and I was looking at so to speak, the end of the tunnel, like very far, because I'm young, hopefully it's very far, but like I saw it for the first time. I always knew about death since I was a kid, but it's the first time I felt it, so to speak, and that and the Acapulco environment, those two things triggered the writing.
Wow. I've just got one last question for you, Michel. As a filmmaker, with every film you make, you learn something, you grow as a filmmaker. What did you learn about yourself as a director, as a storyteller, in telling Sundown that you can now take forward into your future projects?
Well, the trickiest part was that Tim and I, we didn't know how to get ready to shoot this movie. We both understood what we were going to make, but then when we were on location, sometimes he had questions that I didn't know how to answer, because the movie provides no answers. It's just asking things. So I liked that process, but it was very tricky where we allow ourselves to get lost. But I wanted to do it again and to a bigger extent. I don't think films should be planned on a desk and then just executed. I think one should go and find the movie.
Well, you definitely found the movie with Sundown. Michel, I can't thank you enough for making this film. I've already watched it twice. I will be watching it again. And I can't wait to see what you bring us next.
Thank you so much. I'm encouraged to keep working. Thank you.
Oh, and I hope I get to talk to you again in the future, Michel.
Absolutely, we will.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.